Our high school football coverage on Midco Sports Network is in full gear, especially after Varsity Sports Live last week. Our crew had highlights from 16 games across the Dakotas. So now it's time to reflect on the best performances from that opening week, and we'll get to South Dakota in a bit, but let's start in North Dakota with Jody Norstedt. And Jody, the familiar names from last year like Andy Grabdahl, Grant Skager, and Jacob Delvo, they've moved on. Who cracks the opening week list for you?
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. Gosh, those are some really good names, right? First off, these lists are never easy to put together because worthy candidates are always going to get left off. But let's take a look. Teddy Almaris passed for 2,800 yards and 38 touchdowns last season. He's off to a good start as a senior. He accounted for 6 touchdowns in New Rockford Cheyenne's blowout win on Friday. Cole Ballmiller passed for 5 scores for Linton HMB. Shanley's Haley Bucholz, a UND commit, turned 3 catches into 2 touchdowns and a whopping 211 yards. More on Bucholz and the Deacons in a bit. Dane Carlson was slinging it for Mandan, only 2 incompletions in the game. Bowman County won a blowout. Caleb Duffield played a factor reaching the end zone 4 times, including a 91-yard kick return for a score. 4 touchdowns apiece for Egan and Leeds. Oak Grove's Isaac Olson had 2 pick sixes for the Grovers the day before his birthday. How about that? Caden Schwabe is always one of my favorite players to watch. This is video of him from the opener against Cavalier, but he ended up passing for 200 yards, rushing for 60, and combining to score 5 touchdowns this past week in a win over Hat Northwood. He's like a creative player on Madden. It's just unfair sometimes. The same could be said about New Salem Glen Ullins' Braden Zuroff. He has the chance to reach the end zone every time he touches the ball. He finished with 12 carries for 115 yards and 3 scores in a win over Mount Regent, New England last Friday. As for our game ball winner, you can slide this award next to the state trophy he helped win last year. It's Hillsborough Central Valley's Oscar Benson. In what I expected to be a good battle with Park River, Benson rushed for 213 yards and a trio of touchdowns behind an inexperienced but impressive offensive line. That wasn't all. The Burrow Jr. also intercepted a pass to help HCV win big, 39-8. Now, getting back to Haley Bucholz's big day for the Deacons, you could argue his performance may have been the most critical in what was a very tight game with Jamestown. Shanley barely edged the Blue Jays 27-26. Bucholz had receptions of 71, 66, and 74 yards, with 2 of those going for touchdowns. We should probably give quarterback Caden Kuhneman some credit too. He played a part in all 4 Deacon touchdowns in the game and looks healthy after missing the majority of last season with a broken collarbone. The Deacon duo told me their chemistry just clicked on those big plays.
I just went out there and played. The linemen did great. They gave us time to throw the ball. Caden Kuhneman, I believe, was the one who was playing quarterback on both my receptions for touchdowns. He threw fantastic balls. They were great timing.
They say you gotta trust your receivers, and Haley's one of those receivers. You just gotta trust him to make a play and just try to put the ball in the right spot.
We give this kid only 3 touches and for 211 yards, and you're starting to figure out as a coaching staff, geez, why doesn't he have 10, 11, 12 touches? So obviously we have to get better at getting him the ball.
And that first test will be against Grafton. The Spoilers will be the team trying to slow down Bucholz and the Deacons on Friday. That's a wrap for North Dakota. Jandy, what do you have down there in South Dakota? Better be good.
Oh, it's good, Jody. Thanks a lot. A lot of players had good weeks in South Dakota, as you can imagine. You might even call them great weeks, but to play at a different level, you have to play at that level to get on this game ball list. Here are a few of the top performers from last weekend. We got to give some love to defense, too. Doyle Brown of Madison, 11 tackles. 3 of those tackles for loss, 2 defensive interceptions, and a fumble recovery, not to mention a game-saving tackle to win in double overtime. How about Canyon Bauer? He found the end zone 3 times against Aberdeen Central. Then he had Brady Dannon bring 5 touchdowns, 3 of those for Tyler Feldkamp right there. And Mitchell Goodberry, a career receiving day for Sioux Falls Christian. And don't forget about the 9-man players. Huge day across the 9-man landscape. You had Stanley Haskins, Trey King, and Eli Skoglund, who combined for 13 touchdowns. And look at this number. Alejandro Rama of Red Cloud ran for 300-plus yards with 4 touchdowns, threw for another 146 and 2 touchdowns. Wow, what a start for him on the season. But the winner of this week's game ball is Nathan Rice of Dakota Valley. He stepped up his game, moving to quarterback this year, took the top-rated Panthers over Dell Rapids Warriors, who, by the way, were ranked 5th. So this is against a ranked opponent that he put up 215 yards on the ground, found the end zone twice, and also had a passing touchdown for good measure. Big day to keep the Panthers at number 1. All right, well, we're all looking forward to another President's Bowl here in Sioux Falls. That's the annual fundraiser for the Sioux Falls public school system, and it's crowned with 2 excellent football games on Saturday. This Saturday, Lincoln will host Brandon Valley, and then Roosevelt and Washington play in the nightcap. Earlier today, I got to chat with the head coaches of those games.
It's going to be fun. You know, it's just, I love playing in President's Bowl, and I love the direction that our program's heading right now. And
you know, Sioux Falls brings a good crowd all the time, and then Brandon always has a good crowd for all their games. So, you know, we're excited about him playing in it.
You know, they want to match up with these guys, and they want to play well against them, and in front of a big crowd at a big venue like this, you know, why wouldn't you? So it is a great motivator for our off-season program.
They do look forward to it, and they are excited to be in it, and they like playing on the Saturday, you know, and get in front of a big crowd. It's going to be great weather, and it's everybody involved. And again, it's not just our football team, but a lot of our activities are there too. So, and all the Sioux Falls schools get to see each other play, and BV's basically, you know, right next door to us, so they're part of the family almost.
Please get out to these games if you can. The weather's going to be wonderful, but if for some reason you can't get out to the games, they will be live on MidcoSN starting at 3:30 p.m. Curtis Riggs and I are on the call. All right, let's not forget about volleyball. It is in full swing as well. Watertown started the year ranked in the top 5, but dropped 3 of their first 5 matches to start the season. Last night, a chance to redeem themselves against Harrisburg, who just happened to be the defending champions in Class AA. Harrisburg gets off to an early start. Here's Hallie Mertz off of the set and puts it down. 13 kills for her. She led the Tigers in kills, but it was all Watertown after that. Junior Sophie Teets would have something to say about it. She had a big night as well with 8 kills, and Mackenzie Busker on the next highlight here, 7 kills for her. Big night for them. Mariah Glow, not pictured here, also with 12 kills on the night. Watertown gets the 3-0 sweep, and they're back on the winning track.
Well, it's just, you know, after losing the 3 games this weekend, it definitely you start to build some momentum, or start to build that confidence back again that, you know, they just need to play cohesively. And, you know, in the end, too, we made some mistakes. We need to get those kinks out, but just moving forward.
All right, so Watertown not in the top 5, but I have a feeling they could make a return. Here are the weekly rankings in AA. Stevens, Huron, and Roosevelt are all undefeated, but Stevens and Roosevelt the only 2 in the rankings. Thursday night, Roosevelt travels across the state, or across the city, to take on Washington, and we'll hope to have highlights of that on Friday's show. That's all for high school sports in South Dakota. Back to you, Kelly.
All right, great stuff. Thank you, Jandy. Well, we are going to step away for a moment, but when we come back, an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at fall camp for North Dakota. Stay with us.